This Transporters 96 here with another video. I'm going to be talking about a custom that I did. I actually repainted my Berserker figure to be more of a to have more crankcase accurate colors. So this is quite exciting. This is something that I definitely wanted to do because I absolutely love this figure. If you saw my review, I'm a big fan of this figure. I think that they really nailed it, and it was such an improvement on the original crankcase from Dark of the Moon. So, but however, you know, I'm not a big fan of Berserker's colors. They're fine, but they're certainly not what I prefer. I much prefer Crankcase's colors, and I just think Crankcase is going to be a bigger part of the movie than Berserker will be in The Last Night. You know, Crankcase had a bigger part in Dark of the Moon than Berserker will have in The Last Night, in my opinion. So therefore, you know, Berserker's not only a more, or sorry, Crankcase is not only a more important character, but he has the cooler paint scheme. So I wanted to represent that here, and I, you know, repainted the figure. Quite easy to do, you know. There was a lot of his colors still worked, you know, a lot of the grays worked, and I like that, so I didn't even touch the grays, or, you know, for the most part I was able to leave some grays, like the thighs, the biceps, you know, I didn't have to touch those at all, which was great. What I did do, though, just going over what I did, I love the face, because I do, although I'm not a big fan of the shade of gray that they went with on the face, I do still like the way that they've painted it. They've kind of painted this gray with a silver highlights that kind of fade out, which look very cool. I think that looks very nice. I obviously gave him some proper golden dreads, which he definitely needs, you know. I think even in this movie, based on this artwork here, he still has gold dreads, so that's something that definitely should have been the case for the Berserker figure anyway. So I definitely gave it to this Crankcase custom. You know, the gold dreads are great. You know, I did struggle with whether to get the bright gold or just like a standard gold. I went with the bright gold, which is a bit distracting because everything else on him is so dark. So to have this really shiny gold, like, really just pops, and it takes the focus away from the pictures sometimes. However, I love some shiny gold dreads. They just look awesome. So I'm a big fan of that. The torso, if you don't remember, is completely gray. It's this color. It's this gray. It's completely all of that, but with an X that's red. So I just repainted that. I repainted some of the panels, you know. I added black to it, and I also added silver details. And then some of the gray panels I just left gray. So you have a mixture now of that dark gray, black, and some silver details, which I think looks very nice. I do like the combination on the torso there. And same thing here. I painted this area black. With the legs, you know, again, the thigh section didn't do anything with. The knees, and I'm going to have to touch it up, especially in this little circle here, but the knees I painted black when they were originally red, so I want to get rid of that red detail. I also painted just this middle panel on the leg there black, so I did that on both sides. And then I painted the feet silver. And then with the hands, I'm gonna have to. You know, this is still. I have everything where I want it. I still have to do some touch-ups on it though, to get rid of any little pieces that are still coming through from the bottom. But anyway, with the arms, didn't touch the biceps, but with the bottom arms here, I painted it all black, and then I added silver details. So as you can see, I added silver on the fingertips, as well as just some of these panels on each of the fingers themselves, and then like just a couple panels on the arms I painted silver too, just so that it wasn't just all black. And originally this was like a gray that kind of faded into a red, and then his hands were orange, which I really hated. I hated the orange color on him, so I wanted to get rid of that. And then on top of just the paint, what I also did, this is something you can do on the Berserker figure, is that just the two panels that were right here, I just popped them off. They simply peg in, so you can just pop them off easily. And then the one panel that's folded on here, I just popped that off as well. So, you know, without those panels, he won't transform properly. However, I don't plan to ever transform this figure because he's obviously now painted. So, just, you know, I did some easy stuff here to create what I would consider a really fun, kind of cool custom. I like this a lot. I like this color scheme a lot more, and I like Crankcase more than I'm going to like Berserker. So, that's why I did this. However, I still have another Berserker on its way. I purchased another one because, you know, I do still want a Berserker accurate colored figure as well. But again, I love this figure, and really happy to give it some more accurate color schemes. I posted some pictures on Instagram and got a great response. So I'm very happy with that. I feel like it's not just me that likes this, which is nice. Overall, very easy to do, and he looks awesome now, in my opinion. He looks much better than he did before, and he still looked pretty awesome before. So there you go. That's just my video showing off a custom that I did that's fairly easy. You can do it yourself. It just involves some painting, and it's all painting on areas that don't have joints. So you don't have to worry about the paint rub from the joints or anything. You can move this guy freely with no piece of the paint being hit by a piece of plastic, which is awesome. So again, simple custom that I did to turn the Last Night Berserker into Crankcase. Let's get it to focus. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of the custom, and thanks so much for watching.